Oh, we'll wait for you, Miss Biggie.
Oh, no, don't do that.
No, go. You got time. Can I ask you a favor? Do you mind just holding this open? I'm gonna slide my phone right in. This little part ought to come up. Yeah.
Okay. Is that enough?
Let's do that. Perfect. Let's see if we can get this to work.
Are you Chromecasting from your phone?
I'm gonna try to do YouTube Live and see how that goes. This is just the YouTube app. It's really nice. It's built in. So if you go into your YouTube app, you see a camera and you click it. It says, "Do you want to go live?" And you say, "Sure." It opens in portrait mode, so now when you go live, we're all looking right at your face as soon as you start. So, but you can also just record, and then it's not live. What do you have there? What's this? This is sold by the EdTech team. They have them out at the table in the front, actually. $10.
So they're selling them too?
Yeah, $10. Really friendly in terms of a quick way to set up a camera. Instead of like the big tripod, which is going to probably cost you a little bit more, just this little one. You can pop it anywhere, and suddenly you could, which I'm going to rope you into, do like live interviews, etc. about the cool stuff you're doing. And then it's all housed in YouTube, right? So if someone wants to see it, just give them a link to either your channel or your playlist, and there it all is. I'm not sure. I saw you post earlier on that. I had questions for you.
I don't have the answers. I sent it to you because
I'm supposed to have them.
I need a CUST credit.
Don't we all?
Do you have one of those that we can use?
CUSD credit.
The tech team has many things I want, but they needed to come in here first.
They aren't going to work just yet, but they shouldn't anyway, unless it goes work.
How many do you need, Robert?
It has to out at random, so how long does that take?
Oh, that's all right, I got you.
I think we're at 1:15 start time, so a couple more minutes, but I will start a little early because I have some fun stuff to show you. Put your name on the back if you have a golden ticket from Miss Amy Adams' amazing session yesterday, and I will take it, and I will raffle off some blue cardboard. You and I can do a live session on it if you want. You doing this cardboard. I saw today that, so you can do the 360 view, right? And then in the last session we were in, some of you may have come, you can do 360 video. So people will actually film video in 360, and so if you throw on the goggles, like we sat in traffic in Mumbai.
Yeah.
It was the weirdest thing. So you hear all the horns going and people talking, but you're moving. But you can also look back as you're moving forward. It was a trip. Yeah, kind of disorients your sense of time and space a little, but in sort of a fun way.
Right before lunch.
Yeah, right before lunch.
We were asking, we were saying.
Oh, right.
Just tell the story when you get the trash can. And whole foliage in the can.
And then you have more. Yeah, that's what Mr. Joe Hardman's working on right now. Everyone seems to see that. Except for Marissa's.
Texted my family friend's daughter who I know is here, and I said, "Hey, Chance, did your classmate like birthday with Disney?"
She's like, that was last year. I saw one.
Someone.
Oh, Laura. she was in on Instagram. No, Marge does, Marge does, I think she does one.
Yes. So my friend has a daughter who's
And
in
it's, she told me she was for the agency interpreter position came available, she applied.
Is Sarah still doing that?
There was,
Many years ago where she was.
There's no way to like actually.
Right.
So she uses her skills.
Is she backing?
For 9, 10, 20, 8, 19, 5.
Because they were best friends, and she got down here, looking for somebody's house, she's right there. Boyfriend was there, she's like,
So did Sarah end up leaving? When I had breakfast with her, she was like, what do I do? Do I stay?
That's what we're looking for.
Do
Yes,
I
we
go?
will.
And I was like, you gotta do what's good for you.
yeah, no, she moved out, she was going home again, and,
She got back to Parkland.
yeah, she got, we did that
I missed her, I gotta get,
Yeah, she did.
yeah.
You're good to go. That should work if you want to try
Oh,
logging
okay,
in.
great,
Yeah.
thank you.
Used to be the,
That's
where we met.
Yeah, at the art, at the art, years and years and years ago. She was at the art, and then she went to LA.
Who has her before?
If you want to get a little bit of a jump start, you can type in your URL bar bit.do, and I'll display this in a moment when I get my computer. So bit.do, and then slash, capital S on summit, and then capital C on casting, so summit casting, one word, no space. Capitalize the S, capitalize the C. This is Lori's room, I don't know if she's behind me. Did you all notice the chair when you came in?
Yes, do you know what that's for?
I think I do, maybe I don't.
Did she call it
I heard you get,
her Lancer?
yeah, I heard you get to present from here, or like run the class that day.
When you're up there.
That should give you access to our slide deck today. Along with all the resources, there's lots of hyperlinks, there's a visual guide of how to do everything we're doing today. So it's good stuff.
Sherry just got.
Finishing up the charting. So what website do I go to do this?
Let's go to your three dots, and then scroll down to settings. And then you're gonna be presented with,
But
so this is you, right? Since you're on a Chromebook, you're gonna have to sign out of your Chromebook entirely and log in as this person.
Oh, okay.
Now you can wait, you don't have to do it now because that just gives you the ability to cast. For the first part of what we're doing, you can just take notes in your account as you want, watch what we're doing, and then when it comes time to actually partner and try this, you're gonna wanna log off your Chromebook and log back on with that person.
Okay.
And that'll give you the ability to. Yes. All right, 2-minute countdown. We good? Thank you so much, Joe. Good to sign out as you.
I actually just have an incognito. You're signed in as yourself.
Cool, so I can just close all this out.
Just minimize it.
Bada boom, there you are. Thank you so much.
Thank you much.
Leave mine up just in case there's a problem. Send me a hangout. I'll be right back.
Thank you very much.
All right. Good luck.
that good old hangout.
Good old hand. Everyone loves their hangout. Okay. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Day 2, afternoon. This is always like the death wish for anyone presenting after lunch on the second day of something. So I'm really happy that you're here to see this many of you. I'm going to get set up real quick. And as I do, I'm curious if anyone's willing to share why casting? Why did this grab your attention? And why are you
What's casting?
What is casting, right? Oh, that's a great place to start, right? What is casting? Which is interesting. We often call it mirroring when we talk about like Apple TVs and whatnot. Casting, like you'd cast a net, you're going to throw your screen onto another screen. So at a moment's notice, with a click of a button, your students or yourself can put their screens up here. Casting.
The mobility of it's amazing.
Oh, it's, yes. I'm hoping the bug bites you today.
And now that we're moving toward a one-to-one Chromebook, there's this movement in our district, it's kind of makes sense.
Lisa? Yes, Ms. Melissa Thompson.
I'm gonna whisper, but I'm gonna say it as best I can.
Oh, that's right.
I was nervous about going one-to-one because I was afraid that it would decrease the conversation in the classroom. And so I've got multiple TVs off of Craigslist and such. And my students, I don't wanna say cast because they don't have that capability, but they use an HDMI. So I can see what the group is working on, I can see each person working without having to hover over their laptop, which is almost impossible. So that, it also increased the conversation because now they're all using a larger screen. So I utilize four for the students and then one for myself.
Yeah, you're taking casting to an interesting level where there's multiple screens around the room. People can independently cast too. Very cool.
It's awesome.
If you haven't gone to see Marissa's room, either
We
check
can have a
Twitter or
field trip
go.
after
Are you here?
We're gonna have Susie 360-degree your room. Put it on.
Please do that, I miss that social space.
Yeah.
I would
That's
love
good.
that.
So you can hear that some teachers have already used it, the casting feature. And again, the idea is that a student or a teacher can cast to the projector at any time. Beyond the cool factor, I'm excited to talk more in the spirit of what Jeff was talking about today, of how do those tools, though, create an entirely different environment in which the students collaborate and the teacher interacts with students. So let's do this. I'm Robert Allen. I've been in the district for about a decade now, which is almost weird to say. I'm a former, I shouldn't say former, I will always be an English teacher at heart. And I'm a technology TOSA now in the district, so I get to work with lots of fun tech and great people. I feel really blessed. If you're not here yet, feel free to jump into bit.do Summit Casting. That's me on the Twitter, as Jeff calls it. And then there's my email. Feel free to reach out anytime. Summit Casting, it's also here if you'd like it. Google hasn't done a whole lot of promotion around the product, but I think the product speaks for itself. When you watch it in action, you say, wow, this is really cool for as simple of an idea as it is. This graphic basically shows you it's someone projecting their screens all at the same time, right? And they even made like a little promotional video, actually. It's only a minute 25, so I'd love to show you because Google does a better job than I do of explaining it. Here is what Google Cast for Education is. Tell us now.
Did you know that a tree frog can jump over 50 times its body weight? That's like a human jumping over a football field without a running start. But do you know how they jump? Or how they land? Or even how they're changing the way we do surgery? The thing is, there's a lot more to tree frogs than anyone could discover alone. But in the classroom, we're often expected to learn that way. But things are changing. Google Cast for Education is a way for every single student to share what they know with, well, every single student. Teachers can invite students to cast their screens wirelessly to the entire room through the Cast for Education app, and students can share their screens with the click of a button. This means teachers can move around the class and interact with students one-to-one, while having full control over what is shared and when. So students can show their work, share a discovery, or reveal something that no one else knows about, like how a tree frog can do all the jumping it needs on just one cricket a day. So whether it's a project about tree frogs, a poetry assignment, or a mathematical equation, now students can achieve things they couldn't before, sharing their ideas to make bigger ones. Google Cast for Education, a little leap towards the future of learning.
Kind of cool, right? So in a nutshell, it's being able to just share screens, and the way it works is across networks, right? So we're on the same network, and we're able to swap our screens that way. Beyond Google's promotional materials, I've been fortunate to see this in action in teachers' rooms, and the piece that I want to highlight in terms of its power is I think this simple feature creates much more mobility. First of all, you can see that I can be really anywhere in the room now. I can proximity to the students who need proximity. I can also get out of their way where I don't have to always be in front of them, distracting them visually. I can sit back here and do my work and switch my slides. And most importantly, I'm no longer, I guess, bound or chained to the desktop that we often feel like we are. Right? We got to constantly jet back over to our desktop to change a slide or to move something. I can do all of that from here now, right? So the mobility factor, I think, is incredible. We have one teacher who's using one of these little hydraulic stands too. He turned his into a document camera. With this model computer in particular, there's a camera in the keyboard, a world-facing camera. So now at a moment's notice, you can have a doc cam, and he put it on a little rolly cart from IKEA, so you should see him. He kind of just pushes it around wherever he goes and does his demonstrations from anywhere in the room. No longer does he have to be at his desk to be able to do that. So mobility is huge, especially as our classrooms start to look different and at a moment's notice look different. But the really exciting piece, I think, is the way that people can collaborate with this now too, whether it's students sharing information or even in staff meetings. You know, when someone's like, hey, bring up the thing, like, well, you just cast your screen. And I've seen staff meetings or department meetings go really smooth because people are just taking turns casting and showing. Really fun to watch. But I think that is my big selling point on it, the student-centered piece. Let me walk you through some of the photos here too. That's Bob Peterson's setup. This was last week. We were in a classroom and students were taking an exam and they wanted to see how did I do. Really cool standards-based grading. And the teacher wanted me to show it, and I was like, well, I'm going to have this guy show it who was next to me, right? So I think his name was Noah, and he walked everyone through how to do it, all of his colleagues. Now that sounds really simple. I could have done it, right? But when a peer is walking the other peers through something, it takes on, you know this, it takes on a totally different feel for how the kids interacting. The other one I really remember was a second grader. I won't say who the teacher was. She's fantastic, but she had a little bit of, it was new, so she goes, this looks really sophisticated. I mean, I don't know if my second graders could do it. Let's not kid ourselves, right? Of course they can do it. They know how to click things before we do. So they were doing commas. Where does the comma go? And the student was like, I know where the comma goes in the sentence, right? So instead of the teacher going, okay, everyone, here's where the comma goes, we'll stand up and cast. And he was like the proudest individual you could have ever seen in that moment. He stood up, he casted, he walked everyone through it. Everyone clapped for him. And then, of course, everyone's like, can I cast, right? So it kind of spread that idea of how can we play a very participatory, active role by going click, right? And now all of a sudden you're center stage. I know for me as an English teacher, I used to think that, hey, you got to work your way up to the big presentation, and like with this tool, you can just present all the time, right? There's always a presentation going on in the moment, so I love that piece of it. Down here, a student was, for the week of code, hour of code, Scratch was going a little rough in a classroom, and of course the quiet student, who otherwise you probably wouldn't hear much from in the front of the classroom, goes, I know how to do this. So he casted his screen, and he walked the whole class through it. In the spirit of what Jeff was talking about earlier, those students who are very intelligent, have a lot of power and capability in guiding their peers, who probably don't get heard all that often, by no one's fault, that's just kind of how they blend into the room. Really powerful tool to get those kids to own what they know and show other kids. That was awesome to watch. And then here's Monica Villarreal, maybe you know her, Kelly teacher. I'm sorry, Hope teacher. And she said, I showed her the little doc cam setup, and she said, I don't even want that stand. I'm just going to use this as a doc cam like this. So like she'd walk over to a student, snap a photo of their work, and then she'd go annotate with the pen over the top of it. Her doc cam was no longer this thing that like sits on a desk. It was here all the time. This is the doc cam. And so this is her using it to show addition. Awesome stuff, right? So just paradigm shift for what we think of as a doc cam, or student collaboration, or presentations. And the great thing about it is that for CUSD, it's always on your device and